Dramily.com, unlimited drama series.
The cold pizza tasted like cardboard, but at least it was honest about what it was. Unlike my wife, who just walked through our front door at 11:30 on a Tuesday night, reeking of expensive cologne that definitely wasn't mine. Mike, what are you doing up? Fiona's voice cracked slightly as she spotted me sitting at our kitchen table, laptop open, surrounded by receipts and printouts. I took another bite of the pizza and studied her face. Even in the dim light, I could see the telltale signs: smudged lipstick, hair slightly messed despite her attempts to fix it in the car, and that guilty flush creeping up her neck. Just catching up on some paperwork, I said, gesturing to the documents spread before me. You know how it is with city code inspections, always something that doesn't add up. She kicked off her heels and padded toward the refrigerator, trying to look casual. How was your day? Interesting. Found some irregularities in a few properties today. Amazing what people think they can hide. I closed the laptop slowly. How was your fitness retreat planning meeting? Fiona's hand froze on the refrigerator handle. Fine, just fine. Lots to organize, I bet. Must be exhausting, all that organizing, especially when it involves so much hands-on instruction. She turned around, and I could see the panic starting to build behind her eyes. What's that supposed to mean? I reached into my jacket pocket and pulled out a familiar device, her backup phone, the one she thought she'd hidden so cleverly in her gym bag. The same gym bag she'd left in my garage workshop while she rushed inside to shower off the evidence. Funny thing about backup phones, Fi. They sync to the same cloud storage as your main device. Technology, right? Makes everything so transparent. The color drained from her face. Mike, I can explain. Oh, I'm sure you can. You always were creative with explanations. I scrolled through the messages on the screen. Let's see. Can't wait to feel your strong hands on me again, Jungle King. That's poetic. Really captures the essence of a fitness retreat planning session. Fiona's mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. You went through my private messages? Private? I laughed, but there was no humor in it. Sweetheart, when you leave your burner phone in my workshop, it becomes evidence, and I'm very good at collecting evidence. She tried to recover, straightening her shoulders and putting on that defiant expression I'd seen 1,000 times before. So what? You're not exactly the most attentive husband, Mike. When was the last time I what? Paid the mortgage? Fixed your car? Covered for you when you were too hungover to pick up the kids from school? I stood up, and she took an involuntary step back. Or maybe you mean, when was the last time I pretended not to notice you were screwing Trent Wallace? Her face went white. How did you, the bedspread, Fi? That tacky leopard print monstrosity he posts in all his motivational morning selfies? It's in the background of that mirror selfie you sent him last Thursday. The one where you're wearing my anniversary gift to you. I shook my head. At least try to be original when you're cheating on me. Fiona's bravado crumbled completely. Mike, please, it's not what you think. It just happened. And save it. I picked up my phone and showed her the screen. I already called your parole officer. Her face went from white to green. You what? Mentioned you were planning to take the kids out of state for an extended vacation with your new boyfriend. Funny how she didn't know anything about that travel request you were supposed to file. I smiled coldly. She's very interested in having a conversation with you tomorrow morning. Fiona grabbed the back of a chair to steady herself. You bastard. You can't do this to me. Actually, I can. And I'm just getting started. I gathered up my papers and headed toward the stairs. Oh, and Fee, you might want to call your Jungle King. I have a feeling his week's about to get very interesting, too. As I climbed the stairs, I could hear her frantically dialing behind me. This was only the beginning. The Iron Temple Gym squatted on the corner of 5th and Main like a glass and chrome monument to vanity. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, I could see Trent Wallace holding court with his usual crowd of admirers, leading them through what he probably called a life-changing fitness experience. I checked my watch. 10:15 a.m., right in the middle of his most popular class. Perfect timing. My brother Sean sat in the passenger seat of my truck, laptop balanced on his knees. You sure about this, Mike? Once we trigger this, there's no going back. There was no going back the moment she decided to screw around. I studied Trent through the window. Mid-30s, spray-tanned, wearing a tank top that showed off his gym-sculpted physique. The kind of guy who took selfies in public restrooms and called it lifestyle content. Okay, I've got access to her Instagram account, Sean said, fingers flying over the keyboard. The post is scheduled to go live in exactly 3 minutes. You sure this is the right photo? I glanced at the screen. It was a screenshot from Fiona's phone. A picture of her and Trent in what was obviously a post-coital embrace, his face clearly visible, her wedding ring prominently displayed on the hand draped across his chest. That's the one. Make sure the caption is exactly what we discussed. Sean nodded and typed. So grateful for my personal trainer Trent Wallace at Iron Temple Gym. He's taught me so much about flexibility and stamina. Some positions I never thought possible. My husband Mike doesn't know how lucky he is that I'm getting such intensive private lessons. Thanks for all the hands-on instruction, Jungle King. Personal training, married life, flexibility goals, Iron Temple Gym. Jesus, Mike, this is going to destroy her. Good. She should have thought about that before she destroyed our marriage. I opened the truck door. Give me 2 minutes, then hit send. The gym's front desk girl looked up as I walked in. Hi, are you here for the 10:15 class? It's almost full, but I think we can squeeze you in. Actually, I'm here to see Trent, personal matter. She gestured toward the main workout floor. He's just finishing up his motivational segment. You can wait, or no need to wait. I pushed through the double doors into the main gym area. Trent was in full performance mode, standing on a small platform, addressing about 20 people in workout gear. And that's why I always tell my clients, you have to be willing to go deep, to push boundaries, to explore positions that might feel uncomfortable at first. Hey, Trent, I called out, my voice carrying across the suddenly quiet gym. Hope the first am not interrupting anything important. He looked up, and I saw the exact moment recognition hit. His confident smile flickered, but he tried to maintain his composure. I'm sorry, I'm in the middle of a class right now. If you'd like to schedule a consultation. Oh, this won't take long. I walked closer, and the class participants turned to watch, sensing drama. I just wanted to thank you personally for all the extra attention you've been giving my wife. The gym went dead silent. Even the background music seemed to fade. Trent's face flushed red. I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. Really? Fiona Finnerty? About 5'6", blonde, married to a guy named Mike? I smiled pleasantly. She's been raving about your hands-on instruction techniques. Someone in the back of the class whispered, oh shit. Trent tried to laugh it off. Look, sir, I train a lot of people. If there's been some kind of misunderstanding. Misunderstanding? I pulled out Fiona's backup phone and held it up. Want me to play some of the voice messages she left you? The ones where she describes exactly what positions you've been teaching her? The color drained from his face. You need to leave, now. In a minute. I looked around at the frozen class participants. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to meet Trent Wallace, homewrecker extraordinaire. He specializes in married women who are looking for a little extra motivation. Trent stepped down from the platform, his hands clenched into fists. Get out of my gym. Your gym? I laughed. That's funny. According to the city records, you're 3 months behind on your business license fees. As a code inspector, I'm obligated to report violations like that. His face went from red to purple. You can't threaten me. I'm not threatening you. I'm just sharing information, like how you've been sharing my wife. That's when my phone buzzed with a text from Sean. Post is live. Holy shit, Mike. Her phone is blowing up. Around the gym, I could see people checking their phones, their faces changing as they found Fiona's Instagram post. The whispers started immediately. Is that really him? Oh my God, look at this. She tagged the gym and everything. Trent's phone started buzzing too. He looked down at it, and I watched his face go through several shades of white. You son of a bitch, he whispered. Hey now, let's keep this professional. After all, you're the one who's been giving professional services to my wife. I turned to address the class. By the way, folks, you might want to find a new gym. This place is about to get very interesting from a legal standpoint. Trent lunged at me, but I was ready. Years of dealing with angry property owners had taught me how to handle confrontation. I stepped aside and let his momentum carry him past me, then helped him along with a gentle push that sent him stumbling into a rack of dumbbells. The crash was spectacular. "Careful there, Jungle King," I said as he struggled to get up. "Wouldn't want you to hurt yourself. Fiona needs you in good shape for your next private session." Security cameras had caught everything, and I made sure to look directly at them as I headed for the exit. "Have a great workout, everyone. And remember, always read the fine print before you sign up for personal training." As I walked out, I could hear the chaos erupting behind me. Phones ringing, people talking, Trent shouting. Phase 2 was complete. Murphy's Tavern had been the unofficial town hall of our little corner of upstate New York for as long as anyone could remember. If you wanted to know who was sleeping with whom, who was behind on their mortgage, or which city councilman was skimming from the road repair fund, Murphy's was where you came to get the real story, which made it the perfect place for what I had planned next. I pushed through the heavy wooden door at exactly 6 p.m., knowing the after-work crowd would be in full swing. The familiar smell of beer and fried food washed over me as I made my way to the bar. Well, look who's here," called out Patty Murphy from behind the bar. She was a woman in her 50s who'd inherited the place from her father and ran it with the iron fist of someone who'd heard every sob story and seen every variety of human stupidity. "Mike Finnerty, as I live and breathe. Heard you had quite an interesting day." The conversations around me quieted slightly. Word traveled fast in a town this size. "Just spreading a little truth around, Patty. You know how it is." She poured me a beer without being asked. "Oh, I know exactly how it is. Your wife's little Instagram post has been making the rounds. Hell of a thing, that." I looked around the bar and recognized several faces from the gym's morning crowd. They were trying not to stare but failing miserably. "Mike!" Gary Kowalski, my partner from the code enforcement office, waved me over to his table. "Jesus Christ, man. The whole department's been talking about what happened at Iron Temple." I joined Gary and two other guys I recognized from around town, Pete from the hardware store and Danny, who worked at the fire department. "So is it true?" Pete asked, leaning forward conspiratorially. "Your wife's been screwing that musclehead trainer?" "Well, Pete, let me put it this way. She's been getting a lot more exercise lately than her gym membership would suggest." Danny nearly choked on his beer. "Damn, Mike, how'd you find out? Sometimes the evidence just falls into your lap. Or in this case, into my garage." I pulled out my phone and showed them some of the screenshots Sean had compiled. Not the explicit photos. I wasn't completely heartless, but the text messages were damning enough. "Holy shit," Gary whispered, reading over my shoulder. "She actually wrote, 'Mike will never satisfy me like you do?' Among other things. Turns out my wife has quite the vocabulary when she's inspired." The guys around the table shook their heads in disgust. Word would spread from here to every corner of town by tomorrow morning. "So what are you going to do?" Pete asked. "Well, I've already handled the parole officer situation, and Trent's gym is about to get a very thorough inspection from the city. Amazing how many code violations you can find when you really look hard." "You're going to shut him down?" Danny's eyes lit up. "I'm going to make sure he's operating within the full letter of the law. If that happens to be expensive and time-consuming for him, well, that's just the price of doing business." My phone buzzed with a text from Sean. "Fiona's at Lexi's house. Intercepted some interesting messages between them. You're going to love this." I excused myself and stepped outside to call my brother. "What have you got?" "Remember how Lexi's supposed to be Fiona's best friend? Well, turns out she's been talking to Trent too. Apparently, she's been feeding him information about Fiona's schedule, helping them coordinate their little meetings. Interesting. What else? Even better, she's been trash-talking Fiona to other people, called her desperate and pathetic in a group chat with some of the other gym wives, said she was embarrassed to be associated with her." I smiled. "Send me screenshots of everything. It's time for Lexi to learn about loyalty." Back inside the bar, the crowd had grown. Someone had apparently shared Fiona's Instagram post on the local Facebook community page, and now half the town was buzzing about it. "Mike," Patty called out, "your wife's friend is here. Lexi something or other. She's looking for you." I turned to see Lexi Harrison pushing through the crowd, her face flushed with anger. She was a thin woman in her early 30s who spent most of her time at yoga classes and coffee shops, gossiping about everyone else's business. "Mike Finnerty, you son of a bitch," she shouted, loud enough for the entire bar to hear. "How dare you humiliate Fiona like that?" The bar went completely silent. This was better than cable TV. "Hello, Lexi. Nice to see you too." You think you're so clever, don't you? Posting those pictures, making her look like a fool. Actually, Lexi, I didn't make her look like anything. I just shared what she was already doing. She made a mistake. Everyone makes mistakes. You're right. For instance, you made a mistake when you helped her coordinate those meetings with Trent. I pulled out my phone and showed her the screenshots Sean had sent. Want to explain to everyone here why you were giving Trent updates on my work schedule? Lexi's mouth fell open. That's not. How did you? Or maybe you'd like to discuss that group chat where you called Fiona a desperate slut who's going to ruin everything for the rest of us. The color drained from her face. Around us, people were pulling out their phones, recording everything. That was taken out of context. Was it? Because there's about 50 messages here where you're talking about how embarrassing Fiona is, how she's going to get everyone in trouble, how you wish she'd just divorce me quietly instead of making a scene. Lexi looked around the bar, realizing that everyone was staring at her, recording her, judging her. I was trying to help her. By calling her pathetic behind her back.
He just gave me a massage, that's it!
A massage? With I Miss Your Body after?
Watch more on Grammarly.com.
By helping her sneak around? That's an interesting definition of help. She tried to recover. At least I'm not the one who destroyed her life over a mistake. No, you're just the one who helped her make the mistake, then talked shit about her to everyone in town. I stood up and addressed the room. Ladies and gentlemen, meet Lexi Harrison, the kind of friend who'll help you cheat on your husband, then call you a slut behind your back. The bar erupted in murmurs and whispers. Lexi looked around desperately, but there was no escape from the judgment in those faces. You're a bastard, Mike Finnerty, she whispered. Maybe, but at least I'm an honest bastard. She fled the bar, and the crowd burst into applause. Patty wiped down the bar and shook her head. Damn, Mike, remind me never to get on your bad side. Just remember, Patty, I only go after people who deserve it. My phone buzzed again. Sean, Trent's at the police station. Apparently someone reported his car vandalized. Thought you should know. I smiled and finished my beer. Time for phase 3. The police station parking lot was busier than usual for a Wednesday evening. Through the windows, I could see Trent Wallace gesticulating wildly at Officer Lenny Morrison, our town's most enthusiastic but least competent law enforcement officer. I parked across the street and called Sean. Tell me you got everything. Every word. The audio quality is perfect, and I've got backup recordings on 3 different devices. Sean's voice crackled through the phone. Are you sure about this next part? Absolutely. Trent's about to learn that sometimes the hunter becomes the hunted. I'd spent the last 2 hours setting up the perfect trap. A text to Trent from Fiona's phone, asking him to meet her at Murphy's back parking lot to figure out how to handle Mike. What Trent didn't know was that Fiona was currently locked in a heated argument with her parole officer and wouldn't be anywhere near Murphy's. But I would be. 20 minutes later, Trent's damaged Tesla pulled into the back lot behind Murphy's. Someone had indeed vandalized his car, though vandalized was a strong word for what was really just some easily removable paint spelling out Homewrecker across his driver's side door. I stepped out of the shadows as he parked. Evening, Trent. Rough day? He spun around, his face immediately flushing red. You're the one who did this to my car. Did what? I've been inside Murphy's all evening. Plenty of witnesses. Bullshit. You've been harassing me all day. First the gym, then this. He gestured at his car. I haven't harassed anyone. I've just been sharing information. There's a difference. Trent stepped closer, and I could see the rage building in his eyes. You think you're so smart, don't you? Well, I've got news for you, Mike. Fiona's going to leave you. She's going to take those kids and disappear, and there's nothing you can do about it. I smiled. Is that so? That's right. We've got it all figured out. She's going to claim you abused her, get a restraining order, take the kids, and clean out your bank accounts. By the time you know what hit you, we'll be in another state starting fresh. Perfect. Sean was getting every word. Interesting plan. Just one problem with it. What's that? Fiona's on parole, remember? She can't leave the state, and filing false abuse charges is a felony. Trent's smile faltered slightly. She knows what she's doing. Does she? Because I just got off the phone with her parole officer. Apparently Fiona forgot to mention her little travel plans, or her new boyfriend. Parole officers don't like surprises, Trent. You're bluffing. I pulled out my phone and showed him a text message. From Officer Sandra Martinez, Fiona's P.O. Thanks for the heads up about Mrs. Finnerty's activities. We'll be conducting a home visit tomorrow morning to discuss her compliance with parole conditions. The color started draining from Trent's face. But hey, I'm sure your plan will work out great. I mean, what could go wrong with conspiracy to commit fraud, filing false police reports, and helping a parolee violate the terms of her release? We're not doing anything illegal, really, because what you just described sounds like conspiracy to commit several felonies. But I'm not a lawyer, so what do I know? Trent was starting to panic now. You can't prove anything. Actually, I can prove quite a lot. For instance, I can prove that you and Fiona have been planning this for weeks. I've got text messages, voice recordings, even some interesting photos. You're lying. Am I? Want to bet your freedom on it? That's when Trent made his crucial mistake. Instead of walking away, instead of calling a lawyer, instead of keeping his mouth shut, he decided to double down. Fine. You want to play hardball? Fiona told me all about you, Mike. About how you hit her, how you threatened her, how you made her life miserable. When she files that police report tomorrow, everyone's going to know what kind of man you really are. I nodded slowly. So you're admitting that you and Fiona are planning to file false abuse charges against me? They're not false. She showed me the bruises. What bruises? Trent realized his mistake immediately, but it was too late. There were what, Trent? Because I've never laid a hand on my wife, never threatened her, never hurt her. So if she's got bruises, where did they come from? His mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. Oh, I see. You're saying that you've seen bruises on my wife's body during your fitness sessions. Bruises that she's planning to blame on me. I shook my head. That's conspiracy to commit fraud, Trent. That's serious prison time. No, that's not. I didn't mean. What did you mean? Because it sounds like you just confessed to helping my wife frame me for domestic violence. Trent looked around desperately, as if hoping for an escape route. That's when he noticed Sean's car parked at the edge of the lot, windows down. Recording equipment clearly visible. You bastard! You set me up. I gave you every opportunity to walk away. You chose to keep digging. Well, he lunged at me then, exactly as I'd hoped he would. But Trent was a gym rat, used to controlled movements and predictable resistance. I was a former military man who'd spent years dealing with hostile property owners and angry contractors. The fight lasted about 30 seconds, when Officer Lenny Morrison arrived, summoned by an anonymous tip about a disturbance in Murphy's parking lot. He found Trent on the ground with a bloody nose, me standing calmly with my hands visible, and Sean's recording equipment capturing everything. What happened here? Lenny asked, looking confused as usual. Mr. Wallace attacked me, I said simply. I defended myself. It's all on tape. Lenny looked at the recording equipment, then at Trent, then back at me. Is that true? Play the tape, I suggested. You'll hear Mr. Wallace confessed to conspiracy to commit fraud, among other things. As Lenny fumbled with Sean's equipment, trying to figure out how to play back the recording, I looked down at Trent. You should have stuck to personal training, I told him. The recording played clearly in the evening air. Every word, every confession, every threat. By the time it finished, even Lenny understood what had happened. Mr. Wallace, he said slowly, I think you and I need to have a conversation down at the station. As they led Trent away, I called Fiona's phone. She answered on the first ring. Mike, where are you? I've been trying to reach Trent all evening. He's a little tied up right now, but don't worry, you'll be seeing him soon. You've both got some explaining to do. The silence on the other end of the line was deafening. Tomorrow's going to be a very interesting day, Fee. Hope you're ready for it. I hung up and looked at Sean. Phase 4 complete. Ready for the finale? Oh, he grinned. Wouldn't miss it for the world. The annual Founders Day Festival was supposed to be a celebration of our town's history and community spirit. Main Street was blocked off, lined with booths selling everything from funnel cakes to handmade crafts. Families strolled along the sidewalks, kids ran between the vendors, and local politicians worked the crowd with practiced smiles. It was the perfect stage for the final act of my revenge. I positioned myself near the gazebo, where the mayor was scheduled to give his speech, knowing that most of the town would gather here within the hour. Sean had set up discreetly across the street with his laptop and a small speaker system, ready to broadcast what we'd prepared. At exactly 2 p.m., I spotted Fiona pushing through the crowd, her face flushed with desperation. She'd spent the morning at the police station, trying to explain her way out of the conspiracy charges that Trent's recorded confession had triggered. From the look on her face, it hadn't gone well. "Mike," she called out, hurrying toward me. "We need to talk." Several people turned to look, recognizing us from the drama that had been unfolding over the past few days. Word traveled fast in a small town, and by now everyone knew about the cheating wife, the gym trainer, and the husband who'd fought back. "Hello, Fiona. Enjoying the festival?" "Don't play games with me. You know what you've done." She grabbed my arm, her fingernails digging into my skin. "Trent's been arrested because of your lies." "My lies? That's interesting, considering he confessed everything on tape." "You manipulated him. You set him up." I looked around at the growing crowd of onlookers. "Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to meet my wife, Fiona. She's upset because her boyfriend got arrested for conspiracy to commit fraud." Fiona's face went white. "Shut up, Mike. Just shut up." "Why? Embarrassed?" "You weren't embarrassed when you were posting pictures of yourself in his bed on Instagram." The crowd was growing larger now, drawn by the drama. I could see phones coming out, people recording everything. "You destroyed my life," Fiona screamed. "I lost my job because of you. My friends won't talk to me. Everyone in town thinks I'm a whore. You destroyed your own life, Fi. I just made sure everyone could see what you were really doing." That's when I saw Lexi Harrison pushing through the crowd, her face twisted with rage. Behind her came several other women I recognized from Fiona's social circle, the gym wives, the yoga class regulars, the coffee shop gossips. "There he is," Lexi shouted, "the bastard who's been ruining everyone's lives." But as they got closer, I could see the doubt in their faces. The recordings Sean had released on social media the night before had done their work. Everyone in town had heard Lexi's real opinion of Fiona, had seen the text messages between her and Trent, had learned the truth about who was really betraying whom. "Hello, ladies," I said pleasantly. "Come to support your friend?" "We came to tell you what we think of men who destroy families," one of them said, but her voice lacked conviction. "Destroy families? That's rich, coming from the women who helped my wife cheat on me." I pulled out my phone and held it up so the crowd could see. "Should we play some of the recordings? Let everyone hear how you all really feel about Fiona?" The women's faces went pale. They'd all said things they regretted, all participated in the gossip and backstabbing that had enabled Fiona's affair. "You recorded private conversations," Lexi accused. "I recorded confessions to crimes. There's a difference." That's when Mayor Henderson approached, looking confused and concerned. "Mike, Fiona, is everything all right here? You're causing quite a disturbance." "Everything's fine, Mayor. Just having a family discussion." Fiona saw her chance. "Mayor Henderson, my husband has been harassing me and my friends. He's been stalking us, recording private conversations, destroying property." The mayor looked uncomfortable. "Mike, is this true?" "Well, let's see." I exposed my wife's affair with evidence she left in my own garage. I reported code violations at a business that was operating illegally. I defended myself when her boyfriend attacked me, and I shared publicly available information about people who were conspiring to commit fraud against me. I shrugged. "If that's harassment, then I guess I'm guilty." "He's trying to destroy me," Fiona shrieked. "He's turned the whole town against me." "Actually, Fee, you did that all by yourself. I just made sure everyone could see the real you." That's when Sean activated the speaker system. Fiona's voice echoed across the festival grounds, crystal clear and unmistakably hers. "Mike is such a pathetic loser. He has no idea what a real man is like. Trent makes me feel like a woman again. I can't wait to take him for everything he's got and start over with someone who actually knows how to satisfy me." The crowd went dead silent. Even the kids stopped running around to stare. The recording continued. "The best part is, he'll never see it coming. He's too stupid and trusting. By the time I'm done with him, he'll be broke and alone, and I'll be living my best life." Fiona's face had gone from white to green. That was taken out of context. "What context makes that acceptable?" Mayor Henderson asked, his voice cold. The final recording played. Trent's voice describing their plan to frame me for abuse, to steal my money, to destroy my reputation. Every detail, every cruel calculation, every heartless scheme. When it finished, the silence was deafening. "Ladies and gentlemen," I announced to the crowd, "I present to you Fiona Finnerty and her accomplices. They spent months planning to destroy my life, steal my children, and frame me for crimes I didn't commit. The only thing I'm guilty of is trusting the wrong people." The crowd's mood shifted palpably. The sympathy that some had felt for Fiona evaporated, replaced by disgust and anger. "You're all pathetic," Fiona screamed at the crowd. "Small-minded, boring, pathetic people living your small, pathetic lives. I'm better than all of you." That was the final nail in her social coffin. Whatever sympathy might have remained disappeared completely. Officer Lenny Morrison appeared at my shoulder. "Mike, I need to speak with Mrs. Finnerty. There are some additional charges we need to discuss." As Lenny led Fiona away, still screaming about how everyone was against her, the crowd began to disperse. But not before several people approached me to shake my hand, to apologize for doubting me, to express their disgust at what Fiona had planned. And Gary from work clapped me on the shoulder. "Hell of a thing, Mike. You handled it perfectly." And I just made sure the truth came out. What happens now? I looked around at the festival, at the families enjoying their day, at the community that had rallied around me once they learned the truth. Now I get on with my life, without the dead weight. Sean packed up his equipment and joined me. "So what's next, brother?" "Next, I go home to my kids, who won't have to grow up thinking their father was an abuser. Next, I go back to work without everyone whispering behind my back. Next, I build a life based on truth instead of lies." I looked toward the police car where Fiona sat in the back seat, still ranting at anyone who would listen. And next, everyone in this town knows exactly what kind of people they're dealing with when they meet Fiona Finnerty and her friends. As we walked away from the festival, I felt something I hadn't experienced in months: peace. The truth was out. The guilty were facing consequences, and I was free to rebuild my life, without the poison that had been slowly killing it. Fiona had tried to destroy me with lies and betrayal. Instead, she destroyed herself with her own greed and cruelty. Sometimes the best revenge is simply letting people show the world who they really are.